Anything in particular? Hey, everybody, we are live. Welcome to another episode of Reset Monday. I'm Dr. Paula Ruffin.
And I'm Dr. Erica Peabody. And yeah, here we are. Here we are again. Our weekly reminder and conversation about life, living, health, and wellness. Always happy to be here.
Yes. Life, living. Say that again. Life, living, happiness.
Health and wellness.
Yeah, health and wellness. Yeah.
It's life, living, health, and wellness.
Mm-hmm. It's all the things. I did a video earlier this week talking about going back to school, and I didn't call it a reset, but basically just talked about getting back to your water, your sleep, your food, and your movement.
I just said back to school, back to health, back to taking care of yourself.
Oh, yes. You're a poet and you didn't even know it.
It just came out of my mouth to a patient of mine. I'm like, okay, listen, you've been here 3 times in the past year. You think that's anywhere close to taking care of yourself? Of course you're in this place. And now you're trying to go up north this weekend. And that's not going to work very well because you've got yourself in this situation. So anyway, it's just, I'm like, it's back to school, back to health, back to taking care of yourself.
Okay, let's see. Back
to school.
Back to school. Back to health.
Back pun intended.
To taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
Hey, Uncle Al, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate you being here. That's a good quote.
It is a good quote. I came out and I was like, wow, that was rhymey and very timely. Rhymey and timely. So
rhymey and timely. I love it.
But here's the thing. It's like, okay, so this was the best visual that I've ever had is I was talking to a colleague of ours, a friend of mine, and he was saying that when the especially in particular the lumbar spine, when the low back, quote unquote, gives out, that means there's been the pressure close to or synonymous with, if you had a 3-year-old and you just you stepped on a 3-year-old's toe, that is the stress and the pain that's underlying in the low back. When the low back finally gives out, that's what's going on. It's like taking your 3-year-old and just smashing on their toe. That's what the disc is feeling like. I was like, thank you for that analogy. If that doesn't catch everybody.
No kidding, right?
I know. Like take your 3-year-old and smash their toe.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing to your lumbar spine. And especially when you have any excessive amount of weight on your body. It was really a fascinating visual. I was like, ow!
Yeah, ow! Or when you clip the baby toe on the coffee table in the middle of the night. Oh, ow!
So I've also, this last patient that I was talking about, you know, her kids, I think she's got a junior and maybe an 8th grader. And they do spend a lot of their time like robotics camps and this and that. I'm like, and it's 5 minutes to get in and out and get adjusted. And I get it, but you live right around the corner from here. So your excuses no longer work here. But I've also watched this person and people in particular where it's like you start really taking care of yourself and you feel freaking amazing. Mm-hmm. And then 6 months go by and you find yourself spiraling back down the spiral because those around you haven't leveled up with you, not necessarily her family or her kids or whatever, but just in general. And then as moms, you're under so much stress. And I'm like, this woman is, I think she's a year younger than I am. And I'm like, we gotta do better. I have this other patient that is my same age and I'm astounded.
It's really incredible when you look at people who are your age or even younger, and you're like, whoa, what?
You got to get some things taken care of.
Yeah. I was in Costco yesterday and I was walking through the, when I was coming through the checkout and going through the cafe area, and every single person that was sitting eating a hot dog or a piece of pizza or some other piece of garbage that comes out of there was like sick, fat, and overweight. Like you could just look at them. Their skin didn't look healthy. Their hair wasn't healthy. Their posturing when they were eating, they were like all hunched over.
Yeah.
You just know that these people are not living high quality lives.
No.
And listen, also though, I still haven't had, I do one a year, their vanilla ice cream with the strawberries. I do have to do that once a year.
So every time I'm leaving Costco, because I go there and I do get like a lot of my fruits and vegetables. And then I get the organic half and half for my coffee. And then I get some like little like protein bar things to grab. I can't really shop there very much because the more stuff I buy, my appetite is like, whoa, dude, whoa.
Yeah.
And then whatever I overbought, that's exactly what I can't eat. So I really have to be mindful when I go there because I wasn't realizing how it was affecting me in that way. But it's also like, so I'm leaving there with my cart and I'm like, I'm starving. And I wish there was something at that cafe worth eating.
Yeah.
And I don't even think there actually is one thing worth eating there. I've never stopped. I always want to because I'm starving, but I would rather go and get in my car and open up like my raspberries and open up maybe a protein bar or something like that. I'm going to choose over stopping for a gluten bomb and gluten and chemical bomb. That's
and
all
nitrates and nitrites.
Right.
Yeah. The cured meats and
I mean, I'm all about having like a good quality, burger or a, gluten-free pizza from time to time or a really nicely made, brat from time to time. But
not when it's, like I say, it's in abundance. And what I find interesting is that you can always tell. So it's not people like you or me sitting down eating in those places.
I know.
That's where all the unhealthy people are. And the sad thing is I want all the unhealthy people sitting there eating to suddenly just look up and look around at each other and go, holy moly, we shouldn't be here.
Right.
And, get up and go grab some raspberries.
I know. Do they even offer like a salad?
No.
They should.
No.
They could.
Right. Yeah.
Because that's
they did like
a chicken salad.
Yeah.
Or like a green salad with just grilled chicken. Take one of their rotisserie chickens or a million of them.
Even if they threw that into a wrap, I'd be okay.
I know.
It's not. Yeah. No. It's just interesting, and and I'm also I'm a food shamer in my head when I shop, when I go to the grocery store, because it's the same thing. You look at what's in people's carts and it is a direct relationship to the morphology of that person.
Yeah.
And, swollen legs and ankles, and you see the dry skin and the eczema and, and then you look in the cart and you're like, oh, there's pop and there's like, Kraft macaroni and cheese and, just all that garbage. So
there was one time I was in the local grocery store, and our local grocery store is failing miserably. Like they're price gouging for one, but you take any vegetables or fruits out of there and they're going to mold within, if the avocados, they're not even a chance for them to be well. The other fruits and vegetables, I do buy organic arugula because I need my hands on that regularly, and it's local here. Right. So I do that, but
that's good.
I know. But other than that, so I was in line and I was watching this person check out. I was just watching because it is hard not to look and see what people are buying. And, when you have your cart and you have like your 212 packs, like in bottles, they're like up on but there's like on each side. So anyway, I know I was watching this person check out and I was just appalled by what they had on the rolling thing on the belt. And I took a picture of it and I almost posted it, but I looked up because they were facing the other direction and it happened to be a patient of mine.
Uh-oh.
So I was like, let me go ahead and not post that.
Yeah.
But I did leave there, and I did post a little bit of something about, look around, shop the perimeter of your grocery store. I was super bummed the other day. I was trying to get my hands on organic espresso beans, and I cannot get organic here in town. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And I can get organic, one pack of organic, but it's ground already. I can't get regular beans. And I'm
Just a
like,
bean.
what do I
That's
have to
crazy.
do? It's
And you
crazy.
don't have any bougie coffee shops up there that?
Not organic.
Oh, that's crazy.
I
Wow.
had to actually settle because I wanted good espresso beans. I had to actually settle on a bag of Starbucks beans,
Yeah.
espresso blend, because
So
I'm like,
Starbucks has, so you have a Starbucks up there?
I have a Starbucks, but our grocery store had Starbucks beans.
Oh, okay.
Bags of beans, espresso blend.
So in a pinch, I do the Starbucks Yukon. It's their Yukon blend.
Okay.
And it's a medium roast, but it's rich and it goes through the espresso machine
Man,
beautifully.
I just really want, I gotta have that like flavor and just the lovely earth of espresso. It's one of my only vices.
Yeah.
But it's really important to me. So anyway, if anybody has the best espresso beans that I can easily get my hands on, I would love that link. But I'm gonna have to just go down to Whole Foods. I don't know what's at Trader Joe's, but
Trader Joe's always has good.
45 minutes from me.
Yeah, I was at Trader Joe's the other day for the first time in forever, and I forgot that they have amazing coffee. I used to get my coffee from them whole bean all the time.
Yeah.
And I pass by it every Saturday and Sunday, come to and from yoga. So I really need to stop in there and start buying my coffee, because the Whole Foods coffee, that I sent you a picture of that. That's excellent. And, I think just to give you guys a little look behind the curtain, the reason we're being so picky about coffee is because coffee is really toxic.
Very.
The poisons that are sprayed on it, but then it's moldy. So the beans come out, you have the green beans, and they have a little bit of moisture on them if they're not properly cared for, and they start to mold. And then a lot of coffee companies, they'll just take the moldy beans and then they roast them. So now they're roasting the mold and those mycotoxins onto the bean. And then it comes to you, and then you drink it. So, and that also doesn't mean that all organic is clean of mold either.
No.
So it's really to be very particular about your coffee is important, because we want to have a good cup of coffee in the morning.
Yeah.
But it really can be a make or break to your health if you've got a lot of chronic things going on.
Yeah. And I always pick up the half and half from, organic at Costco, which I love that version of it. And then I'm doing an organic coconut, like a full fat cream. So I mix the two and then steam and froth it.
Yeah.
And, we do have to, like, coffee I'm only 6 years into drinking coffee. And
really?
So that was like 40, it was 40 years without.
Oh my
because
God.
I thought it gave me migraines. But what was happening was, in college, I had not only caffeine, but sugar too. And so I didn't do caffeine until like 6 years ago. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that. I steered completely clear. And so, yeah, now it's like my greatest joy. It's a reason to get
wonderful.
up, chug water, get that rocking and rolling. And then, it's awesome. So anyway, but I am really particular, because you can actually make yourself, once you get an espresso machine, which we both have the same one at home. Once you get that, you can make the most legit, cleanest espresso for pennies.
Yeah.
Pennies.
Yeah.
Like for maybe 75 cents a latte, and have such a superior product.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like cooking at home. It's so much better when you cook at home than when you're cooking out. You never really get the great meal that you're looking for. Healthy, wholesome. And, Uncle Al says I'm a foodie and a cook. And I think that's also, people think, eating healthy is boring. Eating healthy is expensive. And nah. In fact, eating healthy is amazing. Like it is so nourishing. You feel so much better. And so it's not boring at all if you know how to do it, but that's why we're here. Well,
I
not
was,
for cooking channel or anything, but
no, I know we're definitely on a bit of a soapbox, which I'm happy to be, because where else do people hear this stuff from, right? So I posted a picture on Monday of a weekend event, and it was just like this really high energy picture of myself. Just that it came through over my text message that, this company had taken at this event I was at. And anyway, actually, I'll show you the picture too. Well, follow along on socials, right? But this is the picture. It was just like having a great time, right?
Yeah.
And so I posted that. I said, I'm ready for Monday. Are you? Or are you ready for Monday? I am, or something like that. And a patient of mine who's 45 minutes away now, she was a patient back when I first opened 20 years ago. And I'm not even sure if she's in my system anymore, because she moved shortly after that. And then I switched systems 11 or 12 years ago. So she hasn't been in since, and she lives quite a distance, but I've run into her a couple of times and we're connected on socials. And she writes this on there. She said, "Good morning, Erica. I bet you never gained a pound in your life," which isn't true. And I appreciate that. Thank you for the compliment. "I'd be dying to know what diet you ascribe to. What do you eat?" And so I responded to her and I said, I know it's a great question. And I don't ascribe to any particular diet. I do low carb and definitely low processed carb at all. And I'm working really hard on getting higher amounts of protein. And then I do like a medium level of fat. And so I said, I eat to nourish my body and not for fun or entertainment. That's the key. So a lot of people, and it's awesome if people want to go out and have a good time and eat a nourishment. And Dr. Paula spends hours and hours in the kitchen because that's her passion, and creates incredible things, and has she's like, I did this and that. I'm like, oh my gosh, I made another egg sandwich. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have that passion at all.
I came home yesterday and I made a gallon of homemade yogurt. So
like not even a possibility in my world. And so her response to it though was this: "That's something I've honestly never thought of. I think of eating sometimes as a social thing, and I eat the worst things when I'm alone. I need to rethink my eating style."
Yeah.
And I just thought, and I sent this on to a friend because, he was asking me the other day, why so much social media stuff? And I'm like, Dr. Paula and I are both about taking our principles outside of the four walls of our practice. And so that one simple post that just said, "I'm ready for Monday, are you?" Led to a conversation that will maybe change that person's thought about what she's doing. And especially if we find ourselves binging on our own time quietly on junk. And that's not to say that I will not house like a container of Oreos once every 5 years. I definitely eat ice cream for sure when it comes up. I'm like, hold on. I can't. Do you have a question? Live? You want to come live? You want to come live on my video here? Oh, you did? Yeah. So I'll let Paula take over for a second.
Okay. All right.
You go with that. Let me.
Yeah, you want to mute. Okay. So, and I think to Dr. Erica's point, this is so important because, okay, so she's not opposed to having an Oreo in the house. I may have some Girl Scout cookies in the house when that comes around, but we understand that this is not, we're not eating these in the closet in the dark of night by ourselves. And we're also being very mindful of the fact that this is such a rarity. And, I said earlier, I was like, well, I got to have at least one of those ice creams from,
from Costco, right?
Yeah. And I have to have my one, maybe two cider mill donuts in the fall dunked in cider. So, and we go into this knowing like, that's not healthy for us. We know that, but we've built up such a resilience. We've built such a foundation. Our tanks are so full with nutrition and wonderfulness on all levels that that to do that is not going to really, it doesn't make much of a dent. Now, when I eat it, I'm like, oh yeah, I know, I know I'm going to pay for it, but not like, some people are like, oh, I'll really pay for it. And it just annihilates them. I might just feel like a little dragged out. Maybe I'll get a little bit of heartburn. Like your body just knows it's not great for you.
Right.
But people are doing I'm going to pay for it on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And that's just, it's like there's a fire and you're trying to put it out with a hose on one side, but then you're just throwing more gasoline on it and wondering why the fire isn't going out. Like you just have to stop pouring the gasoline on it.
Right.
And we're pouring gasoline on our health on a daily basis.
Daily. And the other part too, I notice is when I do indulge, the next day my body's like, give me it, whatever that was. I want it again. And yeah, it's just, it becomes a vicious cycle. And then people succumb to the cycle inside of stress, inside of life in general. And then off to the races.
Yeah. And we wear these Aura rings, which are, they were originally a sleep tracker, but like a health tracker. And this will tell you when you've eaten like garbage the day before and you wake up the next day, it's like it's affected your sleep, your resilience, your ability to recover. So it's a great feedback system for us. So we're like, oh, okay, yeah, I can't do that for a while. And, we're going to be coming into the holidays here soon. I hate to even say that, but this is where you guys are going to hear us talking. We want to keep you on track. We do not want you going down that slippery slope of, health disasters, because like your patient was saying, I eat the worst things when I'm alone. Well, people also use parties and gatherings as an excuse to eat all the worst things too. So it's really having the awareness for yourself and being more in tune to what your body needs and what it doesn't need, what serves you and what doesn't. Is it killing you? Is it healing you? Always asking yourself those questions before you put anything in your mouth, food or drink. So.
Yeah, the filter is you pick it up and you hold it. Is this going to help me live or die? Like, am I getting stronger or weaker, stronger or weaker, stronger or weaker? What are your choices there? So, and I mean, we're not always 100% on, and we'll meet up and have cocktails together. And then, we go to the hot yoga and we sweat it out and we chug tons of water. And, there's always like the give and take in some ways, but like 80 to 90%, I would say for us, it's like, we're definitely not perfect, but we're up over 80% of just making the right choices. And, for me, it's really about convenience and nourishment. And, Paula has a little different passion inside of all of that. And, so yeah, it's great. Yeah. And, I mean, we're already, should we even get into this principle?
What is the principle? Read it. And then
interference with the transmission of innate forces, which I know it's like, that's the juice of everything that we do. And so I'll just read it and we can talk a little bit about it, and we'll probably revisit this next week too, because it deserves,
we can do a twofer.
An entire episode. What's that?
We can do a twofer.
Yeah, this is going to be a twofer. So number 29 is interference with transmission of innate forces. There can be interferences with transmission of innate forces. Thank you. It worked well. It looks like you got it wrong. Okay, well, my clutch cable, my contractor came to fix it. I pushed my clutch in last night and it stayed. I was like, oh, that's not good. But the clutch cable on the VW on the buses are like, that's like a $10 piece. Like that's how common they go out. So anyway, he's like, here's your keys. So, okay. There are interferences with transmission of innate forces. So this week has gone really sideways for me in so many ways, like lots of things just off the rails. Yesterday we had to close because we had no power at the office. And normally I don't worry about it, except for it was 83 degrees and it was sticky, very, very sticky. And I do not close. And so I came in at 3. I did the morning shift. That was normal. And I came in at 3, but the power went out at like 1:30 in the middle of a sunny day.
Wow. You guys,
which was really obnoxious. So what happened was Fenton decided they were going to switch over a transformer. They shut the entire city down.
Oh my gosh.
And all of the traffic lights So everything in town, and our infrastructure does not hold as much traffic as there is already. Then they had to let all the kids out of
Yeah.
school. It was gridlock. So we saw about 7 patients between 3 and 4. And I'm like, you know what? We're just going to call it. It's like,
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
that's it. Like, this is crazy. And it's totally sunny out. We have no power, no internet, no nothing, and making a humongous mess for ourselves in paperwork. Right.
Sure.
So, but I was thinking about the interference to the power system. And I know you saw your chiropractor yesterday and they were running right through it, which we all love to do. But the interference, and we've talked about dimmer switches so many times, but like that block in the day yesterday, I mean, I'm not reactive and to it all, but it's like, this has made me a mess. This has made disability going on in a small and big levels inside of our city, but disabling a lot of the forward progress definitely inside of my practice, and disabling my home. Like, fortunately, all the way from home all the way into town and everywhere around was totally no power whatsoever. And that's a very wide area. And so it was like, it disabled. I was like, trying to move around with my flashlight. My batteries weren't working properly. And it was like, well, this is an adventure. But I was thinking about how much interference there was in the day and how that relates to our body.
Yeah. Well, and then you were still functioning in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that analogy. How many of you out there are still functioning in the dark? And that's in all the forms of, physical, chemical, emotional stress, poor sleep, poor movement patterns, poor dietary habits, not enough water, not enough hydration. And so the inside, as our nervous system, our information superhighway, as it's trying to function, is literally trying to function in the dark. And so you were feeling the outward effects of it, and just like, oh my God, it's bombarding me. And you finally just had to say, I'm done.
Our organs do that, though. Enough interference to our organs, muscles, tissues, and glands, and our body's like, enough. And it actually starts to check areas out. So just like, you know what, there's so much stress in this area. We're just going to start to check it out. Numbness down into blah, blah, wherever and everywhere, headaches, all of those things. And so as people start to get adjusted, we start turning that power on. And I know Dr. Paula has used the analogy of taking like a rubber band off your finger. That's what we're doing. We're turning the light back on in the finger, all the nerves and blood vessels. That's what's going on with the body. And that doesn't feel good either. But that doesn't mean that your body's getting worse, that healing process. And so I was like, okay, hopefully when everything comes back on, whenever that will be, which they said 6:45 tonight. And of course, they want to under promise and over deliver. Thank you so much, Consumers Energy. But I don't think you're a hero, but we do appreciate your work and what you're giving us. And we're paying a high premium for that. But, it's like, I was like, okay, hopefully my laser's off the charger because I don't want that to surge.
Yeah.
Computers, I don't want to surge, all of that. But sometimes it makes like kind of a mess on the other side when things do come back online.
Yeah. I have all of my computers on, battery backups, like all my really important digital stuff. But I had taken I actually unplugged the charging dock for the laser. I just let's get it off the wall.
Yeah.
And I didn't even plug it in at home. I took it home and I was like, yeah, it's staying off. But, think about that too, a power surge in your body. And sometimes, that can mean so many things when we start to restore health and balance, is that maybe it gets a little worse before it gets better. Maybe you've got more fatigue. Maybe it does disrupt your sleep because your body's trying to heal. It's really spending time. Or maybe you end up sleeping for 10 hours and you're like, holy moly, I haven't done that forever. Right. So your own power surge, as you start to heal, it can be so many things.
So many things. Actually, fortunately for me, so I had come home and I had a long lunch hour anyway, and I took an hour nap, which was so delightful. But then I went back home at 4:00 and the dogs were there and Lou wanted to just snuggle. And I passed out for another half hour. And it was like, instead of trying to run around and get a million things done, I just like listen to my body and listen to what it really needed. And fortunately, usually I don't have time to listen to that and do all the things it needs to rest and recover. And I took that time to do that. And I feel like $1,000,000 today, and everybody's showing up today. And it's awesome because we have an extra extended weekend this weekend, but just helping get everything back on track. Like my parking lot looks like a war zone still from all the leaves down, and that'll be eventually cleaned up. I got branches everywhere. The tree service will come, but that's the other part is I called the tree service and they're like, well, we'll get there, but we have trees on homes right now. So like, how does that go in your information superhighway? So we have interference going to your heart right now or to your stomach right now, and also your arms numb. Guess what's more important? That tree on a house is more important than the branches apply to the body as well. My arm is still going numb. This is still doing this, my blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? The nervous system is also innervating all your vital organs, tissues, muscles, and glands. And the vital organs are way more important than a finger, way more important than, the numbness into the hands, way more important than sciatic nerve pain. Like all of that stuff, it's a hierarchy there. So I was watching the tree services, like we'll be there in a couple days, but for right now, we got to get these trees off of homes first. So
yeah, it's amazing. And all the work it's work, it's around the clock. It's requires a lot of time. Again, just going back, like, we love to take all of these analogies and put them into the real world, because I think it's really important for people to see it from very different lenses, coming at you from so many different angles, because somebody today will hear that message and go, oh, I get it now. Somebody will hear the smashed toe on the baby and go, oh, now I get it.
Yeah.
But they might not resonate with something else.
So I was driving back here, and one of the tenants had sent me a message with a picture of the tree down the huge walnut tree branch down in the parking lot. So I came home from adjusting and yoga, and I just came right into the office, and there was a truck here with a trailer that was like basically like a wagon. And I'm like, where's this person at exactly? And so I'm just like full of analogies today. So I'm wandering around my building. I'm starting to pick up sticks and like move things and get them off the parking lot to make space for patients on Wednesday morning. And all of a sudden, this guy comes out from behind my building, and he is drunker than a skunk. And he thinks he's going to help. Okay?
Oh my God.
Right. So he is the one that drove the trailer here, and he is trying to help, but I'm like, he's not the expert that I'm looking for to help. Right. And he's probably a liability. So I want you to, and I was thinking about when that tattoo guy came in and he had his friend crack his back.
Yeah.
Remember?
And he broke
a rib. So that friend wasn't the expert, and actually created he was a liability more than helpful. And I was thinking about that as I was telling this man, you're a liability to me. You're not the expert. So I just want to flip that into chiropractic. Like I could throw this guy at this project, right? And I'm going to have a real issue on my hands. I already know. I need the experts to do this level of work. And I want you to just apply that across your life as you're listening to this too.
Yeah, I had a very mature birch tree. The wind, so apparently it was like 75-mile-an-hour winds, and it was such a harsh gust, and it just pulled it up by the root ball like crazy. And so that whole thing was, when you're talking about the expert and the not expert, right? So if I had, I was actually like in my head, I woke up yesterday morning and I thought, this is where I would love a community of people. Like I just, sort of like was manifesting in my head. I was like, the last time this happened, I got gouged by an expert because there was so much destruction. It looked like a friggin' war zone. And I was like, I would just love a couple of like guys in the community to show up with chainsaws. And I'm just going to put that out there, that the community will show up for me. Because also I didn't really want to spend the money because I'm still trying to replace my shed. So I was like, we're talking $500, maybe $1,000. It's a big tree. And so yesterday afternoon, I called a tree company and I said, can you come and estimate this tree and what it would cost to chop it up? So the tree's already down.
Yeah.
And she said, yeah, we'll be there. Well, literally I hang up the phone and my daughter knocks on the window. She waves me out into the front yard. And my neighbor from 3 doors down is standing in my front yard. He's like, yeah, I'm going to bring the chainsaw over later and I'll take care of this for you. And I was like, what? So, and then the day before, my other neighbor, he called me. He's like, hey, I just got home from work. I saw your trees down. I'm going to bring my loppers over. We'll get all the branches out of the street and everything. So the community showed up. But if it was like, I had to take that tree down, like if I had to fell the tree, I absolutely would have had the expert there, right? I'm like, okay, because we don't need to like worry about it falling on the house or somewhere else.
Right.
But yeah, and there's people competent enough. And of course, but you had a really drunk guy. So
yeah, he was. And
power tools in that guy's hands.
No. And I don't know what he was planning on doing because he wasn't that big and strong. And I mean, I had to call, I said, unfortunately, I'm right in the center of town and the police department is really close to me. So, I was just like, let me tell this guy, I have family around. They're on their way. I'm fine. Don't touch a thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm always feel relatively safe here just because of that. But I did have to have a friend come because it was too much to move. I needed to clear my parking lot so that we could park cars here in the morning. So anyway, he's one of my, actually that was him, one of my VIPs in my life.
Yeah.
Fixing my clutch cable. He called me last night. I was just leaving here. I brought some artwork and some different things up here. And then I went to get back in my bus and I pushed the clutch in and it stayed. That was the issue. And he was calling me right at that moment. He said, I just made sure that my mom had, her generator was working. And do you have a generator going? I'm like, no. And I'm not too worried about it for the first 24 hours, but I'm like, and this is what's my next adventure.
So the community's showing up.
Yeah.
It's the nervous system of the community you've created, right?
I know. It feels so, I am really super supported here. That's why I love to give back to this community and be of service to the community because I literally look around every corner and there's somebody, there really is.
That's outstanding. I love it. Well, I think we never really got to we kind of did. We used a lot of tree and storm analogies and power outage analogies, but we're going to have to actually go from the jump with that principle next week because I think it's fantastic. So
yeah, and it's really, I mean, it's what our entire profession is based on. I mean, there's so many different things like just kind of a preview, like the garden hose analogy, the safety pin cycle, the blah, blah, you know what I mean? Just all that stuff. Oh,
yeah.
Love it.
So this is a signed copy from Mr. Fred Barge, who is
wow,
a legend in chiropractic.
Legendary.
Yep. So this is his book. It's as simple as that and more. So I thought we could pull some things. I have this one, and then I have Palmer's Law of Life.
Nice.
So we can pull some things out of here. And then this one I love. This is Virgil Strang, who was also a legend in chiropractic, and so was Palmer. But the essential principles of chiropractic. And that's and so listen, talk about abundance. So I've been just really leaning into, some weeks I fall off of my affirmations and my visualization. And so I went to pick these books up and I started to open them, and I opened this one because I've been doing more affirmations. I'm listening to a lot of Abraham Hicks every morning.
I love that. Yeah.
Okay. I opened the book.
What?
I know. It's two $2 bills. Now,
I love
collect
that.
$2 bills, but there's no reason that it should be in this
I
book.
love it.
Because I have a specific book that I keep them in.
Uh-huh.
But I'm like, why are you here? Why are you in here? Is this like chiropractic and abundance, like all wrapped up in one? And the universe is like, you are doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Stay the course. You'll be able to change lives and create health abundance for so many people. So I was super excited about that.
That's amazing. I was just thinking about the green books that I have sitting here. I mean, I have the contemporary chiropractic philosophy, but
We have so many places
there's so many. I mean, I have a bookshelf here. They're not full of that, but I definitely have like 5 or 6 like thick ones that like the chiropractor's adjuster.
Yeah.
And then the science, art, and logic of chiropractic. Yeah.
So maybe we do
so much.
Maybe it's a each week you do one, I do one out of the book, right? We pick one. So yeah.
So yeah, we'll revisit next week. So it'll be the 5th. We'll redo number 29 and as it relates directly to our practice and what that really even means for chiropractic. And then we'll go on from there.
Love it. Do you want to read it one more time to wrap it up?
Yep. So principle number 29, interference with transmission of innate forces. There can be interference with the transmission of innate forces. I think we should talk about like Harvey Lillard and,
right.
I mean, there's so many things though.
And with that, there is interference to the innate forces when there is no power. And so with all of our power outage analogies, when you get adjusted, we are turning your power back on.
That's right.
Yes. We are turning the light up that allows you to function and be the amazing human being that you were put on this earth to be. So
yeah, that was just reminding me, there's this one quote that says, you can't fight the darkness. You have to turn on the light.
Yeah.
Like that's the only thing we could do is last night is like, you can't like go into a room and pull the darkness out of it.
Right.
Like you can't do anything like that. You have to just turn on the light. And that's how you can't fight sickness in the body. You have to turn the body up, turn the lights up.
Turn the health on. Yeah, I love it. I
got chills.
I know.
All
right. Well, everybody, until next week, have an amazing holiday weekend, and we will look forward to seeing you next week. Have a good one. Thanks as always for being here. Appreciate it.